We're going to talk about John and Sherlock's relationship today. Unfortunately, I've decided that we're only going to talk about the platonic part of their relationship because getting into shipping will take way too much time and I'll probably go off on a tangent about something, so we're just going to try and stick to the platonic today. Anyway, and when Sherlock stumbles into John's life, or John stumbles into Sherlock's, depending on which way you look at it, John was miserable. John was absolutely 100% miserable with his life because he was sent home from the war that he had dedicated his life to. And he goes from having this constant action, this constant danger, excitement in his life every single day and having to risk his own life to save somebody else's, to help a comrade. And from there, he's shot and he's sent home. He's sent back to London, in which he, lives in a flat that he can barely afford, and he doesn't have a job, and he's seeing a therapist because he's got this psychosomatic limp caused by getting injured in his shoulder. There's nothing to look forward to, and all that danger and all that excitement is completely taken away from his daily life. And I mean, yeah, it is a city, so I mean, there's hustle and bustle about all the place, but like, what's the most exciting thing that can happen to you? Dangerous thing that can happen to you? I guess you could get mugged, probably, or murdered. But apart from those two things, there's not very much that can happen to somebody who's just chilling in their room all day, trying to write a blog, going to their therapist, limping around. So when John meets Sherlock, it pretty much immediately clicks. Just even from the first look that Sherlock gives John, you can tell that he is interested, that there's something there already. Even better is that he immediately asks him to go to 221B Baker Street and, look out the flat and everything like that. And Sherlock already knows just from talking to him that he'll accept it because obviously Sherlock knows everything. And then Sherlock does that really, really sexy thing in which he's like, "You're a doctor. In fact, you're an army doctor. Any good?" Very good. And I mean, you can just smell the tension, and it's awesome, but we're not going to get into that yet, because I'm jumping ahead of myself. So anyway, John is dragged onto this adventure in which they go to a crime scene to investigate why this woman committed suicide in some random place. You can just tell that he's excited to be there, to be at this crime scene, to have some sort of danger and adventure in his life again. And then John's leaving the crime scene because Sherlock just sort of ran off and was like, "Oh my god, it's pink, oh my god, it's a fucking case, and he fucked up." So John goes to find a cab, and instead he ends up getting abducted / kidnapped / blackmailed because the cameras can watch him. And, I mean, what's more exciting than being kidnapped? Because Mycroft says, "You're not haunted by the war, Dr. Watson. You miss it." And I really think that that's the first time we really witness or realize that that is what's going on in John's head. And then later that evening, of course, when they chase down the cab running through London, John's leg is fixed. What's even better is that John doesn't even realize that his limp is gone or that he doesn't need his cane right now because he fucking leaves it in Angelo's restaurant. And then, of course, Sherlock later is just like, "The man at the door," and he has his cane, and he's like, "Oh my fucking god, I didn't need my cane. What have you done? You're awesome. Thank you so much." And, John kills a guy for Sherlock after only knowing him for like a day. And, I mean, obviously, Sherlock fixed John, and John risks his life, risks going to prison to save somebody he barely knows. So if that doesn't speak volumes about how quickly they felt this connection, felt this chemistry with one another, then I don't know what will, because from that point, it just exponentially grows, like their relationship, their understanding of one another, the fact that John's able to put up with there being severed heads in the refrigerator. I don't know, that's a pretty big step in such a short period of time. And it's obvious that they understand each other on this whole other level. It's very uncommon. It's not something that I've ever experienced before, and I can't say that I know anybody who really has had a friend that just gets them so completely. But it's not impossible to find. And maybe in a fictional television show, maybe from a fictional novel, but the connection is real. It's a real thing, and I think that that is a very, very important part to it, is that it is plausible, and it is something that I think most people would die to have that connection with somebody, and to know that you are as important to that person as that person is to you. That is something that probably is very easily overlooked, very easily put aside, but it's something that's very, very important. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, in which you have a friend or a spouse or anything like that in which they mean so much to you, they mean the world to you, and you don't think that they return the sentiment, and that is a terrible feeling to experience. And so I know that we all long for this relationship in which they do in fact depend completely on one another, and I think that that is why Sherlock and John's relationship is so fantastic. John is like Sherlock's moral compass, which is something that Sherlock definitely needs. And Sherlock feeds John this excitement, this danger, and drags him along on cases, and gives John something to care for. As an ex-army doctor, that's exactly what John needs. Something that he missed. It has the danger coupled with the being able to care for somebody else and be able to fix somebody else, and that's exactly what John is able to do because Sherlock has given them opportunity to come into his life, to be a part of his work, part of his life. And of course, Sherlock obviously has no friends. The closest thing he has to a friend is Lestrade, who, even from the first day, tells John that I've known him for 5 years, and no, I don't know him more than you do. How can somebody who seems to be so close, who has known somebody for 5 years, not know Sherlock better than somebody who's known him for less than 24 hours? What is that? How is that even possible? It's because Sherlock let John in. If he didn't want John to come into his life, he would never have asked him to come visit 221B. And he never would have invited him off onto the crime scene. He never would have done any of the things that he did to ensure that John would stay in his life, which is precisely what Sherlock had planned the entire time. So that's all we have time for today, and I apologize for this video being so long. It's way longer than I anticipated it ever being. But that's what happens when you get me talking about John and Sherlock. It's what happens. You asked for it, you guys. So I will end up covering shipping eventually, but I think it's going to be on a little bit of a different scale. And I actually might be doing this, I like the John and Sherlock thing, and do the progressions through the episodes, because there is so much that is covered between their relationships that I've missed because I've just covered A Study in Pink. It's taken like 8 minutes. So if you want me to cover more John and Sherlock, if you want me to do it like the episodes way that I just said, then just leave a comment, let me know. I'd love to do it. So just want to know what you guys want to see. Tune in next week because we're going to be doing another fandom aspects video, part 4, and we're going to be talking about a few different things that you guys have been questioning me about. We're going to talk about Red Pants Monday, pancakes, and as per request, somebody wanted to know about the about them knowing about the porn, basically, about the fan fictions and everything like that. So it'll be a fun week, so just tune in, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!